Hey everyone, it's Richard, and no mail call for this video at least. Today we're going to address a small problem that a lot of people tend to have. What's that? A small problem that people tend to have when it comes to some of their trading cards. Now I'll just kind of break out a regular trading card here. Alright, we got our Exchange of the Spirit. Now of course with some of these foiled cards, be them from Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, any of a number of various card games out there, sometimes the cards will suffer from what we refer to in the business as curl, or curling. And just to kind of give you an idea, this card in itself is actually not that bad at all. It's pretty flat. There isn't a ton of curl in it. And curling is basically what it means. The card will kind of curl up on itself. In fact, let me see if I've got a curled card here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Now, just from the look of it there, I don't know if you all can tell, just from them laying down flat on the game mat here, you can tell that this card over here is curled, and this one is not. In fact, let me go ahead and pick both of these up, and I'll show you what I mean. Again, this one, a tiny bit of curl, but not bad at all. Fairly acceptable, because unfortunately some Yu-Gi-Oh cards tend to curl pretty badly, such as like this one. Now this one you can tell. It's got a very significant curl there, whereas compared to this one, yeah, it's downright bad. Now a lot of people are like, well, you know, unfortunately there's not a huge amount you can do about curl. Actually there is. I wouldn't say that this is a 100% a method to uncurl all of your cards, but it has worked for me, and it's very simple, very low-tech. In fact, the supplies you would need, you probably already have, especially if you're an avid collector like me. So we're going to say goodbye to our Exchange of the Spirit, and of course I've got multiple of the Vampiric Koalas, and interestingly enough, these cards, and I've got several of them, they all curled. They're all from the same set. These are all, you know, they're just, you know, the different cards obviously, but they're all from the same set. And you notice there, look, they all curled. All of them. So I don't know if this was from an exposure to a lot of moisture, some heat, extreme cold, or if the cardstock is just kind of meh. So here's what we can do to go ahead and help with our problems with curling. Let me grab my bit of supplies here. Again, low-tech stuff. Most of you probably already have these. Yep, card sleeves. And you're thinking, oh, wait a minute, we've already done card sleeves. Well, there's a little more that you can do than just sticking your card in a card sleeve. Now, of course, I've got tons of different colors and stuff just from my years of collecting and trading. That one can probably be thrown away. But yeah, just any old card sleeve will work. You generally want to go with a Yu-Gi-Oh sized card sleeve. In this case, well, in this case you would want to, because it's a Yu-Gi-Oh card. As far as what you would do for Magic the Gathering and Pokemon, the whole thing is a little bit different, but I'll go over that as well. So all you want to do, pick a random sleeve, it doesn't matter. One thing I note is whenever it's a Yu-Gi-Oh card, again, just do Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Yu-Gi-Oh size sleeves. Don't do the oversized sleeves. Make sure you go with the correct size here. Let me make sure I can get this thing in here without causing any sort of damage. Oop. And there you go, you got your card. Now, of course, you can still see the curl. So the sleeve in itself is not the solution. The next part is the solution, which is this thing. Yeah, I know, you're like, what, collector's album? Well, yeah, I mean, think about it. It's the most obvious thing. I'll open this up, and thankfully none of these cards, since they've been in this little thing, have had to deal with any curl. Why? Because they're sitting flat, and there's a pretty good amount of pressure just on the fact that they sit there flat in this thing. Now, this particular little collector's album, I think I paid $5 for this. So this is pretty cheap. Not only the fact that you can use it to get your cards to uncurl, but also just in case you need to, you know, a little portfolio to put your cards in. Yeah. So, anyways, let's go ahead and find a spot here for our Vampiric Koala. And let's see, it can be anywhere. Now, of course, some people say that if you put your cards in the middle, it has a better chance of uncurling. I don't necessarily find that to be true, but it's really your choice. In this case, we'll just pick whatever here. We'll pick Noble Arms Excalibur to take that out. Okay, and again, you can look there. The card itself, pretty darn flat. So this one definitely did not go through any curling, or if it did, it never had a chance. And now we're just going to put our vampiric koala in there. Slide it on in, and that's it. Yeah, that's really all you have to do. After that, it does take a little time. You close it up, and you just let it sit. That's it. That's all you do, man. Now, I know this can take a little time, especially if the cards have any sort of significant curl in them, but I find that this is probably the most card-friendly way to do it. Like I said, you don't have to use any sort of chemicals, you don't have to use any sort of unbending methods, which can, I'll be honest, they can damage your cards. I would strongly recommend against you not trying to force the curl out of a card in any sort of harmful way, because you're going to ruin your card. Again, like I said, this can take a little time, but if you're a collector like me, then pretty much all you have is time as far as your cards go. Unless you're wanting to use the card right away, in which case you're using it for play, and it doesn't really matter if it's curled or not, just as long as you have the card. But if you're using it for collections, this right here is probably the easiest way to uncurl your cards. Like I said, just grab your card, stick it in an old card sleeve. Doesn't have to be new. I've got literally thousands of these, so I could just kind of go through this all day with all my dust koalas, since some of them have some pretty significant curl. Stick them in here in your little portfolio and just leave them there for a while. As far as how long they will take to uncurl, really depends. If you live in a climate that's a little more humid, it's probably going to take a little longer, all depending, because I've found that since I live in an area where it's pretty humid, the cards do tend to do this curling here. But anyways, that's probably the easiest way to uncurl your cards without having to worry about damaging them. Anybody else that says they have any other techniques, definitely share those down in the comments if you'd like. I'm very open to hearing of any other ways to do it. I have heard some people say that they have run things across them like pens. Like they will purposely run a pen across it. The time that I saw somebody do that, they were not successful. The curling stayed and the card was ruined. So anyways, like I said, this is probably the safest way to do it. If y'all have any questions, make sure I'll leave them below. Thanks a lot for checking out the video, guys, and we'll see you all next time, hopefully without curled cards.